Supplies of Western weaponry have become a game-changer on the battlefield in Ukraine. But Russia claims the expensive high-precision systems have fallen into the wrong hands. It's time now we find out the truth. Western weapons could end up in the hands of criminal groups in the Middle East, Central Africa and Asia. The false message spread by the Russian MFA sounded loud enough to sow the seeds of doubt in ordinary minds. Concern sparked in July 2022, when the Financial Times published an article that implied NATO and the EU sounded alarmed that the Western systems could be smuggled to the EU black market after having been supplied to Ukraine, though the article provided no evidence of this. This narrative was picked up by some Western politicians. US Congresswoman Victoria Spartz called on the Congress to oversee the provision of weaponry to Ukraine. Of course, this rhetoric was highly appreciated by the Russian government, who immediately started the engine of their propaganda machine. At first, the United States monitored the use and distribution of their donated weapons in Ukraine remotely, but since autumn 2022, the US military personnel has been conducting supervision and control on the ground. In late October 2022, the Department of State issued a press statement in which it announced the US planned to counter illicit diversion of certain advanced conventional weapons in Eastern Europe. A fact sheet published by the Department of State reads, "Intense internal demand for use on the battlefield by the Ukrainian military within Ukraine is assessed to be impeding black market proliferation of small arms and guided infantry weapons from Ukraine." Of course, a part of donated material may have and obviously did happen to be in the hands of the Russian military, because occasionally the Ukrainian army is forced to leave its positions and abandon the weapons. And the Department of State assumed Russia would use these weapons to spread propaganda and to conduct false flag operations. Other allies of the United States, including the EU, have also been closely observing the delivery, distribution and use of the weapons they provide. The EU, being a union of 27 different nations and with its open and transparent policy, would definitely report about cases of misuse or smuggling of Western weapons. At the same time, EU officials have not made any public statements about the alleged smuggling of weapons provided to Ukraine. In this case, Russia is using a propaganda technique known as a false dilemma, when they spread the idea that the West has only two options: keep providing weapons which will end up in the wrong hands, which is obviously fake, or cease supplying Ukraine and thus ensure their own security. But this is not a real dilemma for the EU. They keep helping Ukraine and call on other countries to carry on too. So don't let anyone fool you and follow facts, not fakes.